My whole life, I always knew I was special. Even with no remainders, I could always move a decimal. Money on my mind while the girls that made un beso. Hustlers in my blood and it's running through my vessels. Just trying to clear the threshold, just trying to make a way. In my race against time, I could see an early grave. School to prison pipeline, 12 years a slave. Suspension and detention is conditioned for a cage.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Crawford wants the winner of Charlo versus Castano if he can't get the winner of Spence versus Ugas. So, yeah, Terence Crawford said in an interview that we're going to play right now. This interview was with Joy Phelps on Beyond the Gloves, that he is willing to move up to 154 to fight the winner. Let's take a listen.
How important is it for you in terms of your career, your legacy, to ensure that the fight between you and Spence does happen?
Well, like I said, I want that fight. If it happens, it happens. I've been calling for it for years now. If it don't, it don't.
So you're okay if it never happens? Because us fight fans aren't okay with that.
Well, the fight fans got to be the ones that push for it.
Okay.
You got to be the ones that demand it. I did my part. I've done my part since being professional by going through everybody that they put in front of me. I can't see what I can do different or anymore. If I can't get the Spence Ugas winner, I would love to get the Jamel and Castano winner.
All right, so you heard it from Terence Crawford. He said that if he can't get the winner of Spence Ugas, he would love to get a shot at the Charlo versus Castano winner. I'm going to turn it over to Trill Dollar Bill. What's your reaction to what TC had to say?
All right. I got a lot of love for TC. I just think he made a lot of bad decisions. And some is not his part. Sometimes, like somebody wrote in the comment, Bob did him a disservice by overpaying him in a lot of situations. Look, we want to see these fights too. We want to see Ugas and we want to see Spence versus Crawford. Excuse me. We would love to see that fight. But we all know the money situation is the issue. We would love to see you against the winner of Charlo and Castano. We'd love to see that. We know money is going to be an issue. What are you going to be asking for these fights? Because it's been proven now. Bob talked about it. Eddie talked about it. There's no money in promoting your fights. So it's going to have to come down to you. Man, I don't even want to say humbling yourself, because I do think you're a Class A fighter. But you gotta give.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta give a little.
You gotta give a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta give a little bit to get. And I think if you do give, you can get, and then you can set your price, But you gotta get these notable wins. And I think you're just such a great fighter that you can. And that's where your people get misunderstood. When you watch this, we think that Terence Crawford is an excellent fighter. It's just been bad decisions. But hopefully he makes a good decision and he gives a little bit so he can get one of these fights that he's asking for. That's all.
All right, Conspiracy G.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm not really feeling what he was saying. And this is the reason.
What I was saying?
No, what Crawford
said. Come on, man.
No,
I'm really not feeling what you're saying.
It kind of reminds me of,
not that I want to stick up for G. So if you want to attack him,
but the reason why it's unfortunate, man, because it kind of reminds me of like Boo Boo and Benavidez, right? Where it's like you're trying to get these fights, and you just can't get them. And then you're like, all right, man, I guess I gotta just move up and do something else, right? And to me, it'd be unfortunate if TC moved up and fought Charlo or Castano and lost. You know, I don't know. I'll be like, damn, that kind of sucks, because I kind of feel like if you're gonna lose, it should have been to Spence or even Ugas or even Pacquiao, but like somebody at 147, not at 154. You know, so which I do agree with what Trill was saying. You know, TC, you might have to sit down with your team and talk about, hey, maybe we need to lower our prices so we can get these fights at 147. But to me, it's just unfortunate that he feels like he has to move up to 154 just to get a big name, you know, when 147 is his home. And I don't know if he's even big enough for 154, you know, like he could probably do it.
Big enough.
He could probably do it, but to me personally,
Koto's smaller than him.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know Dean Garcia. I don't know if Dean Garcia gonna do good.
Cotto did
Yeah, Cotto was world champion, and I think that Terence Crawford is big enough and he's strong enough for 154, and that would be four different championships in four different weight classes.
Yeah, I'm just hoping
his fight style too. Like
I'm just
at 135, 140, 147, 154. Yeah, that would be four different weight classes.
Yeah.
That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, technically, TC's like Hall of Fame stats already secured, right? But I don't know.
Like people say that. I think he's like a fringe Hall of Famer. And when you look at some of the guys who still aren't in, I don't necessarily know that you put TC's name on a ballot and people are going to pick him over some of these guys. Like,
but he's at least in the running.
He's in consideration, but when people say he's already a Hall of Famer, I would tell those people, look at the list of people that are on the ballot every year that don't get picked.
Yeah. So I just really want this TC Spence fight, man. So, Crawford, please, bro. Please, TC. Sit down with your team. Figure out a number that PBC would be like, all right, we could work with that to make that fight happen, and then you could raise your stock from there. But get that fight first, man. Like, I don't know. Like, that's my only thing, man. It's bad when you see guys want to fight the best, but they can't fight the best for several other reasons. So I just want to see TC at least get that Spence fight before he moves up to 154.
All right. TBE.
Listen, I see what Crawford's doing right here, yo. If he fights the winner, Charlo Castano, he gets the shot at undisputed at junior middleweight, and he still has that WBO. So he'll have a shot at undisputed of the winner of Spencer Ugas. So it'll be like double undisputed, like a fight for double undisputed, because he has the belts in junior middleweight, and he's good. He has a chance to fight for all the belts at welterweight. So that's the biggest fight of our lives. I see what TC's doing right there. But TC,
lives, like you on his team.
I'm not on his team. But I'm like, who wouldn't want to see that? Undisputed, double undisputed? Who's talking about that right now? That's headlines. I see where you're headed at right now, yo. That's dope, TC. If you want to make it happen, make it happen. I want to see you be a true champion. But I just can't deal with the BS where you're talking like you're it and you ain't prove it. So if you want to fight the winner of Charlo Castano, go ahead. Go prove yourself. And then if you want to fight the winner of Ugas and Spence, go prove yourself. That's all I ask. Go prove yourself. Earlier we asked, gee, what has he done? Crawford. I'm just saying, earlier we asked, gee, what has he done? Crawford, I'm going to say do something. And then we will respect it. And I want to respect something you do right now. And you'll be 3-time undisputed champion. And, your name's on the ballot after that. Like, that's something. In 3 different weight classes. So that's respectable after that. But
his name's already on the ballot. You mean that people would select his name over
everybody else, yes.
Yo, here's the deal, right? I want to make this request openly because I don't really know who watches our show, but a lot of what we say does come to fruition. So I feel like some people are watching. So, please don't blackball TC. and I'm saying this to the fight game, he's too talented. He brings too much to the game. And for me saying that to all these organizations, I say to TC, please don't price yourself out of the game. Okay? We're at a situation where someone's issues can be worth more than their value. And typically we see it in sports. Like you see it in the NFL, for example, right? When someone's issues outweigh their production or their value, that's when they leave the league. We've seen a guy, I think it was like Greg Hardy, who had like real bad domestic violence issues in the NFL, but the Cowboys picked him up because when they picked him up, he was one of the best pass rushers in the league. So although he had these issues, he still could help us win. But once he played and he couldn't help a team win anymore, nobody was willing to take him because his value didn't outweigh his production, and his value didn't outweigh his demons. TC's not a guy with demons, but TC believes that his value is worth more than his actual production. So that's what's going to keep him out. Nobody's saying your skill set isn't there. No one's not saying that you're not even the best in your division. But your production doesn't meet the value that you're asking for. And that's what's keeping you out right now. So again, I asked the promotional companies to not blackball TC, but I'm also asking TC to take a realistic look at what he's asking for and to change what he's asking for. So with that being said, I'm going to give what I think would be a great blueprint for TC. Because whether you want to fight Ugas or Earl Spence, or whether you want to fight Charlo or Castano, it's PBC. So it sounds like you want to do business with PBC. And it seems like it's in your best interest to do PBC because they have the belts that are in all the divisions that you are most likely to fight in. So I'm Terence Crawford. Give a little, gain the world. And what I mean by that is agree to fight Earl Spence Jr. or your Dennis Ugas for a 60-40 split. You get 40, they get 60. But if you win, you get 60, they get 40. Right? Then if you win, you sign. So let's say you sign a 4-fight deal. What I'm asking you to do is sign a 4-fight deal with PBC. So sign a 4-fight deal. I'm assuming 2 fights are going to be with Earl Spence. Right? Or the winner of Earl Spence Ugas. Although, the winner of Earl Spence Ugas. I'm assuming 2 fights are going to be with that person. Say you win them both. Now you got 2 fights left on your deal. You become undisputed at 147. Now you can move up and have 2 fights with the winner of Charlo Castano. And let's say you win them. Your 2 fights would be you become an undisputed welterweight champion and become an undisputed super welterweight champion or junior middleweight champion, however you want to put it. But the point is, if you do that, give a little, you can gain the world. Imagine after those 4 fights, you beat the winner of Ugas Spence twice, you beat the winner of Charlo Castano twice. You're a free agent calling your own shots. And 60-40 is not a robbery, dog. It's really not. Look at it as an investment in your own career. You're investing in yourself. You're giving that away to gain more. Because as soon as you win, you get 60-40. Then when you go to fight Charlo or Castano, they're not going to be on your level in terms of superstar. You got 60-40 on them, 70-30, easy. You working with PBC now, they got you under contract. So you beat them, boom, there it is. Those are 4 fights that make sense for you. Why not just sign the 4-fight deal? Oh, also you sign that 4-fight deal. Let's say hypothetically you lose, because that's a real possibility too. It's no guarantee you beat Spence. You lose to Spence the first fight. You get a rematch. What if you get a trilogy out of it? Still good money. Still good for the fans. People still talking about it. say somehow it's a trilogy between you and Spence, but you end up on top in that trilogy. Then you move up and try to become undisputed at 154.
Or you can stay and fight at. You still keep Thurman's there. You got Ugas there. You know what I'm saying? Still got just some money there.
Bingo. You got all these fighters that are still there. If you lose to Earl Spence and you sign a 4-fight deal with PBC, like Trill said, they got to give you Thurman. They got to give you Ugas. They got to give you Danny. Hell, maybe at some point you can get in there with Jerron Boots Ennis. It just makes sense to sign a 4-fight deal with PBC and have it structured that your 4 fights would be 2 fights with Spence and 2 fights with the winner of Castano and Jamel Charlo. And just in case you lose, have it in your contract. Just in case you lose, right? Then you get these other fights. You should automatically get 2 fights with Charlo. If y'all split, then maybe a 3rd fight. If you lose 2-1, then you can get, like he said, you can get a Ugas, you can pick a Thurman, you can pick a. That's just good for your career because they got the roster. They got what you need, bro. So drop the price in the beginning. Hell, I'm not saying it. I hope they wouldn't do it. That's why I said don't blackball TC, don't lowball TC. If they say 70-30, I mean, shit, as long as you can flip it on the next fight. It may even be worth it to take 70-30 on the first fight and then 60-40 on the second fight. But I'm saying hopefully that this can be realistic and be respectful. This is all I was saying from the beginning was I didn't think TC had the leverage to be a shot caller like Canelo Alvarez because he didn't have the production in the box office where people were drawn to him as a fighter. He can get all the pound for pound accolades he wants. That's still, like I said before, that's like being the best rapper that don't move no records. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can be Talib Kweli, you can, it's like, you remember the movie Brown Sugar? He said, if you want to do this lyrical stuff, you take that over to Rockers. Over here, we make hits, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Ho said it bad. Lyrically, I wanted to be Talib Kweli, but then I did what? And I still
5 mil, I ain't been rhyming like common sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. So a TC is a very talented fighter. TC, watching him, seeing his skill, tremendous cat. Being honest, doesn't guarantee him victories over Earl Spence, doesn't guarantee him victories over Ugas, doesn't guarantee him victories over Charlo or Castano. Does he deserve to get the opportunity to fight these guys? Hell, yes, he does. That's why I say don't blackball him. But TC has to understand that he is overvaluing his production. And when your issues or when your production doesn't meet the request and it doesn't meet the demand and it becomes more than it's worth, they're never going to keep you. Colin Kaepernick could still play in the NBA. Yes, he could.
In
the NFL. He could still play in the NFL. But they didn't care how good his cause was. They didn't care how much sense he made. They didn't care how many people were supporting his movement. They just said there's a lot of people he's upsetting, and is his production going to meet the backlash we get? He was a fringe starter, a good backup, low level starter. So they let him go. Before you say whatever, because I don't want to make this about the situation, Tim Tebow was a white quarterback who used to pray all the time, and he was a backup. But whenever Tebow was on a team and the starting quarterback would play bad, the fans would start yelling for them to put Tebow in the game. Tebow started to create a scenario where his production didn't meet the backlash and the drama that he brought to a team. So they cut Tim Tebow. And could Tim Tebow play? Yes. Was he great? No. Did he deserve to be a backup? Yes. But the backlash and the outcry that it came with a Tim Tebow wasn't worth signing him. And this is where we at with TC. Your production doesn't meet the value that you're asking for. And that's why you're not in the game. So give a little so we all, including you, can gain a lot.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We're the Boxing Bros.